This video is here to help you to calculate and measure the perimeter of rectangles. First, let's recap the properties of rectangles. A rectangle is a shape with 4 sides and 4 right angles. The opposite sides of a rectangle are equal. These are all examples of rectangles. A square is a type of rectangle where all 4 sides are equal. The perimeter of a shape is the distance around the outside of the shape. It is measured using units of length such as centimetres, metres or kilometres. We can calculate the perimeter of any shape by measuring the length of each side and then adding them all together. Calculating the perimeter of a rectangle is easier because we know that the opposite sides are equal, so we only need to know the length and the width. Let's try calculating the perimeter of this rectangle. For this example, we do not know the measurements, so we need to measure the length and the width. Let's start by measuring the length. Remember, when measuring, you must ensure that the start of the line is being measured at 0 on the ruler like this. The ruler needs to be parallel with the line being measured, and then we need to read accurately from the other end of the line. This line is 12 centimetres long. Now let's measure the width. Remember, if you're measuring a line on a piece of paper, you can rotate the paper to make it easier to line up the ruler accurately. Look carefully at the ruler here and identify the width of the rectangle. The width of the rectangle is 6 centimetres. Now we know the length and the width of our rectangle, we can calculate the perimeter. There are 3 ways of doing this. Method 1. Add the length of each side in turn. Length, add width, add length, add width. So 12 add 6, add 12 add 6, which equals 36. So the perimeter is 36 centimetres. Method 2, double the length and double the width, and then add them together. Double 12 equals 24, and double 6 equals 12. 24 add 12 is 36 centimetres. Or finally, method 3, add the length and width, then multiply our answer by 2 because there are 2 lengths and 2 widths. Length add width equals 12 add 6, which is 18. 18 multiplied by 2 is 36. So again, the perimeter is 36 centimetres. Which of these ways do you think is the most efficient? If we look at how many calculations are needed, method 3 needed 2 calculations, where the other 2 methods use 3 calculations each. So method 3 is the most efficient. Now you're going to use this formula to calculate the perimeter of some rectangles. How did you do? To find the perimeter of shape A, you add 60 and 80 to make 140, then double it or multiply it by 2, which is 280. The perimeter of shape A is 280 metres. To find the perimeter of shape B, you add 12 and 7 to make 19, then multiply 19 by 2 to make 38. The perimeter of shape B is 38 millimetres. Shape C is a square. So you could have added 150 to 150, then doubled your answer to get 600, or you might have spotted that you could just do 150 multiplied by 4 to get the same answer. So therefore the perimeter of shape C is 600 centimetres. We can also use the formula a different way to find a missing measurement if we know the perimeter. If the perimeter of this rectangle is 20 centimetres and its length is 8 centimetres, we can work out the width. First, we can substitute what we know into the formula. We know that 10 multiplied by 2 is 20, so 8 add the width must equal 10. This means the width must be 2 centimetres. Try to use the method that we have just learnt to calculate the missing length of the rectangle. Here is the answer. We can check our answer by calculating 20 and 10, then doubling it. The answer is 60, so 10 metres is the correct answer for the missing width. And now it's time for your final challenge question. A rectangular garden has a perimeter of 20 metres. Its length is longer than its width, and both are a whole number of metres. What could the length and width of the garden be? Can you find all the possibilities? How did you tackle this problem? Using the formula from earlier, we know that half the perimeter would be equal to the length add width. Half of 20 is 10, so we need to find the pairs of numbers that total 10. Here are your possible answers. You may notice that 5 metres and 5 metres are not on the list of possible answers. This is because although 5 and 5 do add up to make 10, the question said that the length was longer than the width, so it therefore cannot be a square of 5 metres by 5 metres. I hope that this video has helped you to understand how to calculate the perimeter of a rectangle. If you're looking for any more maths videos just like this one, make sure you head to the Twinkl website to check them out. See you next time. This video is here to help you to calculate the perimeter of rectilinear shapes. A rectilinear shape only has straight sides which meet at right angles. Rectilinear shapes can be divided into rectangles, which can help us to calculate the length of unknown sides and therefore the perimeter, which is the distance around the outside of a shape. Let's calculate the perimeter of this rectilinear shape. Remember, to calculate the perimeter of a shape, we need to add together the lengths of each of the sides. We can start by writing this as a calculation. Choose which corner to start in and mark it in some way, so you know when you have gone all the way around the shape. You could also cross out each length as we write it in the calculation. We need to add together 8 and 4 and 6 and 3 and 2 and 7. Now we have our calculation, we can look for any number bonds or near doubles to help us to calculate more efficiently. 8 add 2 equals 10, 4 add 6 equals 10, and 7 and 3 equals 10. So we have 3 lots of 10, which equals 30. So the perimeter of this rectilinear shape is 30 metres. So what happens if we don't know the length of every side of our shape? Sometimes we need to use the information we do have to work out the length of an unknown side. To help us, we can divide our shape into smaller rectangles using dotted lines. For example, let's look at this shape. First, we want to find the length of A. On our shape, A is a vertical line running from top to bottom. We will use the other vertical lines to help us to work out its length. We can add a dotted vertical line to divide the shape into 2 rectangles. We know that the opposite sides of a rectangle are equal, so the length of the dotted line is 12 centimetres. The length of vertical line A will be equal to the combined lengths of the 12 centimetre vertical line and the 4 centimetre vertical line. Therefore, line A is 16 centimetres long. Line B is horizontal, which means it runs from left to right. We can divide the original shape into 2 rectangles by adding a horizontal dotted line here. We can see that the width of the purple rectangle is 10 centimetres, as this is labelled. The 4 centimetre horizontal line and the dotted line that is equal to B must add together to make 10 centimetres, as they make up the opposite side. 10 subtract 4 equals 6, so B must be 6 centimetres long. Now we know the length of the missing side, we can calculate the perimeter of the shape by adding together all the lengths of each of the sides. Pause here and calculate the perimeter. How did you do? The perimeter of the shape is 52 centimetres. Now it's your turn. You are going to calculate the missing length of the shape and then add up all of the sides to calculate the perimeter. Here is one way you could have found the answer. To find the length A, you may have subtracted the 3 metres and the 5 metres from the 20 metres to give you 12 metres. Then you can add each side together to calculate the perimeter of 84 metres. Here's your final challenge. Can you use what you have learnt in this video so far to solve the final problem? The shape is made up of identical rectangles. Each rectangle is twice as long as it is wide. What is the perimeter of the shape? The perimeter of the shape was 140 centimetres. Very well done if you got that one right. I hope that this video has helped you to calculate the perimeter of rectilinear shapes. If you're looking for any more maths videos just like this one, make sure you head to the Twinkl website to check them out. See you next time. This video is here to help you to calculate the perimeter of polygons. A polygon is a two-dimensional or 2D closed shape with straight sides, and these are all examples of polygons. A regular polygon is a shape where all the sides are the same length and all the angles are equal in size. A square, an equilateral triangle, and a regular hexagon are all examples of regular polygons. An irregular polygon is a shape that is not regular. It does not have all equal sides of the same length or all angles of an equal size. Perimeter is the distance around the outside of a shape. Perimeter is measured in length and it is calculated by adding together the length of each side of the shape. To calculate the perimeter of this shape, we would need to add together each length. We can start by writing this as a calculation. Choose which corner to start in and mark it in some way, so you know when you have gone all the way around the shape. You could also cross out each length as we write the calculation. We need to add together 10 and 12 and 8 and 8 and 12. 10 add 12 add 8 add 8 add 12 equals 50. So the perimeter of this polygon is 50 centimeters. When calculating the perimeter of a regular polygon, you only need to know the length of one side and how many sides that shape has. For example, the length of one side of this regular pentagon is 20 centimeters. We know that there are 5 sides and all sides are equal, so we can calculate the perimeter by calculating 5 times 20, which equals 100. Therefore, the perimeter of this regular pentagon is 100 centimeters. Pause your video here and work out the perimeter of these shapes. Here are the answers and the calculations you could have done to work out each of the perimeters. We can also use a given perimeter to work out an unknown length of a side or sides. If we know that the perimeter of a square is 240 centimeters, we can divide this by 4 to find the length of one of the sides. We can do this because we know that a square has 4 sides of equal length. This is how it would look as a bar model. 240 divided by 4 equals 60. So each side of the square is 60 centimeters. If our shape was a regular octagon, we would divide the perimeter by 8 to find the length of one side, because a regular octagon has 8 sides of equal length. The perimeter of this regular octagon is 64 centimeters. So each side is 64 divided by 8, which is 8. Therefore, the length of each side of our octagon is 8 centimeters. If we have an irregular shape with a missing side length, we can use the perimeter and the side lengths given to work out what is missing. The perimeter of this irregular hexagon is 40 centimeters. The side lengths we have been given add up to 34 centimeters, so we can subtract 34 from 40 to work out that the length of the missing side is 6 centimeters. Let's try to use this strategy to answer some questions. Question 1. An equilateral triangle has a perimeter of 42 centimeters. How long is each side? Question 2. A regular hexagon has a perimeter of 180 millimeters. How long is each side? Here are the answers. The length of each side of the equilateral triangle is 14 centimeters, and the length of each side of the regular hexagon is 30 millimeters. And now it's time for your final challenge. This equilateral triangle and square have the same perimeter. What is the length of each side of the square? Pause here and see if you can solve the problem. The perimeter of the triangle is 3 multiplied by 16, which is 48 centimeters. Therefore, the perimeter of the square is also 48 centimeters. 48 divided by 4 equals 12, so the length of each side of the square is 12 centimeters. Well done if you got that one right. I hope that this video has helped you to calculate the perimeter of polygons. If you're looking for any more maths videos just like this one, make sure you head to the Twinkl website to check them out. See you next time!